We've had some really great presentations today, so thank you to everyone who's spoken. My name's Melissa and I am Ulstrom UK's new Wellbeing Coordinator. So what I wanted to do today is to tell you a little bit about what got us to creating the role, and then also talk a little bit about mental health and some things you can do to promote good mental health. So I thought I'd start off quite narcissistically with who am I. So I'm Melissa, I'm a qualified social worker. I'm also a qualified integrative counsellor. I work for Ulstrom UK. I also work for a mental health charity and for my local university in their social work department. I'm also a person with Ulstrom syndrome, and the main ways that it impacts me is that I'm totally blind. I have hearing loss, heart conditions, diabetes, liver conditions. So I'm going to just start off with a few statistics. I think they've been covered today. So there's approximately 8,000 rare conditions worldwide. In the UK, this equates to around 300,000 people. We have 92 individuals who have Ulstrom syndrome, but I think as we've seen today through some of the different presentations, it has wide-reaching implications, and you can have the condition, but you know the waves are wide and impacts the whole family. Also, there's a great report written by Rare Minds, which you can find online, which really talk about the mental health, the links between mental health and rare disease. So there's often things such as anxiety and depression, which you may be at risk of having if you have a rare disease. So with this in mind, Ulstrom Syndrome UK decided to look at the people that use our service and understand their mental health and whether that we need a service to support people with their mental health. So what did we do? We put out a survey to all of our service users, asking them some questions about how they feel about Ulstrom syndrome and their mental health. We had 19 respondents to the survey. 58% of our respondents were a family member or caregiver for someone with Ulstrom, and 42% of people had the condition themselves. We then interviewed a further 6 people, 3 parents, family members or caregivers, and 3 people with Ulstrom syndrome, to put some meat on the bones of their thoughts and feelings and emotions. So what did they say? First of all, we had a range of different responses. People who had Ulstrom syndrome ranged in emotions. Some people felt like it was a complicated syndrome, and it was hard to navigate day-to-day life. Other people felt isolated, I think, in response to the recent lockdown. Some people with the syndrome felt that life was difficult, especially if they didn't fit the common Ulstrom syndrome narrative. On the other hand, other people with Ulstrom syndrome stated that they were proud, especially of how far the syndrome's come with organisations such as ASUK. It didn't impact that, it was the only group they'd ever known, so they live with that impact. Family members and caregivers, I think, really felt the strain of caring for somebody with a complex condition. So parents were worried about how their child would navigate the world, how their issues with sight loss and other medical conditions would really come to play. But what I think really shone through, especially with some of the family members' responses, was the role that support from other families and also from the organisation had played in helping them come to terms with things and helped give them coping strategies. We also found that 68% of the survey's participants had experienced some kind of wellbeing service. The most common things people had accessed were different kinds of therapy. So we had talking therapy or person-centred therapy, cognitive behavioural therapy, group therapy and hypnotherapy. But other forms of support people had accessed were the telemedicine clinics, support from Ulstrom UK and the hospital clinics themselves, as well as respite support care. Out of that 68%, 47% said that they felt better after receiving some kind of support from a wellbeing service. So what did people tell us they wanted to see from a service from Ulstrom UK? Again, we had a bit of a difference between what people with the syndrome and their family members and caregivers wanted. The highest kinds of support individuals with Ulstrom syndrome asked for were one-to-one support or small group discussions, with 62% of participants stating they wanted this kind of support. A further 50% said they'd like a space where they could talk about their thoughts, feelings and emotions, or access some kind of webinar. For family members and caregivers, they saw having one-to-one sessions and also learning coping tips and strategies as the most prominent kind of service they'd like to see, with around 54% of participants stating they'd like this. 36% stated that they'd also like to take part in small group discussions. So that was what we found. So how did we respond? Well, we've developed a wellbeing service, and this works in a few different ways, and primarily it's about talking, it's about communicating, and we've said all through today that Ulstrom syndrome is a peculiarly shaped box, and it's deciding what that shape is and how you can best put yourself in it, I think. So we run now some telephone one-to-one sessions. We also have a parent support group, and we're running small group discussions online. We really want this to be an organic service that's run by you, really. We want it to be delivering services and providing support that you feel you need. I'm blowing my own trumpet here, but never mind. I feel doing the role, I've got an interesting insight into Ulstrom syndrome. I started my own personal journey in 2018 when I was around 26, and I didn't get my full diagnosis until I was 29 in 2021. I also really rely on the wider Ulstrom community for those tips, tricks and coping mechanisms and how we do things, really. We all navigate differently. But I think if I had £1 for every tip, technique or strategy I've stolen from someone, I would be very rich. So that's what we do. So I would say, if you're struggling with anything, and anything really does mean anything, please don't hesitate to give me a call or send me an email or ask another member of the team to put you in touch with me, because I really do think, as has been said before, we're stronger together. And if you talk about something, you're releasing its control on you. If you keep it in your head, it has the control, whereas if we talk about it and find a solution, then that can really empower us. So I was like, yeah, this isn't going to be quick, I'm really sorry. So the next part, really, I wanted to give you some mental health strategies and ways that you can talk about feelings in your family. Because, as I've just said, when we talk about something, it loses its control and power over us. And it's really important to show emotion, be that positive or negative, because we are all human and we're not all happy all of the time. But it's how we navigate those bad times that can make those bad times a little easier to navigate and get through. So what are these? So these are courageous conversations. So you can have these courageous conversations with family members, friends, schools, colleges, universities, hospitals, anywhere. And really, it's a conversation about your health condition or disability, communicating what you need. And we call it a courageous conversation because sometimes these conversations aren't easy to have. But really, they really do help empower people. They give them more autonomy and independence. And can really help you navigate some of those more difficult times. So what are some mental health strategies that you can use to help talking about your thoughts, feelings and emotions? One thing you can do is create a worry jar, and this can be really interactive. You can have loads of fun decorating the jar. You can write in your worries and put them in the jar, and then have some family time where you take things out the jar, discuss them, and talk about how to navigate that situation. For all the parents here, it's really important as well that your child or young person is part of the solution. I think we spoke earlier in our workshop in particular, and we were speaking about if you're part of the solution, things feel a lot more manageable, you feel in control, and having Alström syndrome, sometimes you're very out of control with the condition. So having that time to actually address those worries and emotions can be really beneficial. Journaling, now this is a great way of getting those thoughts and feelings outside of your head. And you can do it however works for you. So I have no vision, so I don't physically write, but I sometimes will make a voice memo for myself, or write a poem or a song, so I can kind of work out how I'm feeling, and then reflect on that and navigate through it. You could do an emotions treasure hunt, so this is writing emotions, or maybe having different tactile pieces of material for different emotions. You know, angry could maybe be some sandpaper, or velvet could be a car emotion, and have your child or young person look for these and ask them to tell you about a situation where they felt this way. So you're really communicating. It's okay to feel however you are feeling. Let's talk about it. Let's deal with it. And sometimes dealing with it is just sitting in that emotion. Some other ways that you can really communicate with children could be through an activity. Watching them play can really reveal how they're feeling deep down. Or you could do an activity like walking, an art activity like AJ recommended us all do. So you could do an art activity or some baking or cooking, and then, you know, talk about how someone's feeling. When you're talking to a teenager or young person, it's really important to have that open communication, validate their feelings. I mean, I don't know, but I imagine as a parent, your go-to setting is to fix and make that situation better. Sometimes listening makes the situation better. Hearing what somebody's saying, really listening to those feelings and validating those feelings. It's not having any power in the situation, just listening, and telling your child, I might not be able to fix it, but I'm here with you, I understand what you're going through. It's having no judgment. Sometimes using things that are happening in the media is a really great way of starting that communication and those discussions. But really, and I think I get this from every family member I've spoken to, it's communicating you love them and you're providing them with that safe space. But you know, it is absolutely fine to feel how you're feeling and to navigate through that. And finally, control. I think I touched on this a little earlier in the presentation, but it can be really difficult to feel you have control when you're dealing with Alström syndrome. So there's a great exercise that you can do that's called the circle of control, and again you can either speak through it or have a piece of paper and draw it out. So you draw a big circle in the centre and you write down everything you have control over inside the circle, and then the things that you don't stay on the outside. And what this exercise shows you is actually, you know, even taking your medication, it's something you have control over. A doctor may prescribe it, but then you're part of being healthy and part of that process. So that can be a really great thing. Having a mood board or a board with some dreams and some hopes on it can be helpful. Again, this could be something physical that you look at. This could be something purely sensory with different materials or different smells. Positive self-talk, you know, I think what I would say is not to filter your feelings, but we have so many conversations, but we talk the most to I do, talk the most to myself. And what we say to ourselves can really set the scene for the kind of day we're going to have or the kind of interactions we're going to have. And the final, well, not the final, I just keep being mean and saying the final thing, and you're all like, great, and actually it is. So I'm going to stop saying the final thing. But one of the things that really helped me feel in control at a time of my life where I felt really out of control was making my bed every day. And it's only a small thing, but actually once I'd made the decision to do that, I felt like my day was more structured. So it's just a tiny thing like that could really make the difference. Or opening the curtains every day, choosing to let the world in. But what I really kind of want to reiterate today is, however you feel, that is okay, and nobody's here to judge or expect you to feel any other way than the way you are. Some of you might feel negative, you might feel like struggles are really hard, and they can be, but it can be overcome. So hopefully, get in touch with me and we can have a chat and we can navigate those things together. And now, the real final thing, and I'm not lying this time, is if you'd like just to join me in a short meditation. So again, this is something we can do to feel more relaxed. It just sometimes helps center me when I know I've got things to do. So if you could just sit comfortably with your feet on the floor, your hands either in your lap or just on the table in front of you, and if you just close your eyes, and I'd like you to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And in through your nose and out through your mouth. And in through your nose and out through your mouth. And now I'd like you to say inside your head along with me, as you take that breath in, I am breathing in. And as you breathe out, say in your mind, I am breathing out. I am breathing in, and I am breathing out. I am breathing in, and I am breathing out. And now, as you take that deep breath in, my breath is slow. And as you breathe out, my breath is deep. My breath is slow. My breath is deep. My breath is slow. My breath is deep. My breath is slow. My breath is deep. And now, as you breathe in, my breath is calm. And as you breathe out, my breath is relaxed. My breath is calm. 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 My breath is relaxed. And now, as we breathe in, say to yourself, I am in this moment. And as you breathe out, it is a wonderful moment. I am in this moment. It is a wonderful moment. I am in this moment. It is a beautiful moment. I am in this moment. It is a beautiful moment. And then now, as you're breathing in and out, say to yourself, I am full of love and kindness. I am happy. I am safe. I am at peace. I can live with ease. I am full of love and kindness. I am happy. I am safe. I am at peace. I can live with ease. And when you're ready, I want you to bring the awareness now out of your body, back into the room, at the temperature of the room and how warm or cold it feels. Stretch your body, feeling the life go back into your arms and your toes. And when you feel ready, please open your eyes. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
Oh, fantastic, Melissa. Thank you very much. Has anybody got any questions for Melissa? Yeah. I think that's it. Marie?
I've got one. Melissa, when I was mentoring in the schools, the self-talk for primary school children, it's not too early to start it, you know, and I found to teaching it through using Bart Simpson, you know, when you've got the devil on the shoulder and the angel and the devil sort of saying, telling him what to do, and then it helps the children to connect then with what self-talk means, listening to that voice in their head. Have you found that other children or young people have really connected with that in your experience?
I think I agree too. I think, firstly, a big misconception is talking about mental health can make a mental health condition worse, and it doesn't. Actually talking about it can really make things better, because we're validating feelings, we're giving it a name, and I think the younger you are when you can start to do that, the more, and when I say positive, I don't mean every day is going to be sunshine and rainbows, but I think we can be realistic, and I think when we can have those courageous conversations with our family and loved ones, it leads for better communication, it leads for more independence, it leads to us knowing ourselves. And I think with Alström syndrome, knowing what your needs are and the best way to live your life and being able to communicate that, I think that's really important. Because I think it was Kerry who said earlier today, sometimes you're telling your story every 5 minutes, and having that, being able to reflect, understanding what really helps you, being able to tell other people, that is brilliant. But I think, the sooner we can start having those conversations about feeling sad, because, really, when you lose your vision, it is hard, it is a process you have to get through, but if you've got people by your side, whether that's at home, at school, a professional, that you can navigate that time with, I think it just leads maybe to us not feeling happy all the time, but it leads us to being able to be in our reality, which I think is really important.
Thank you, Melissa. Great stuff.